Good evening, America. What I'm about to share with you is probably the most shocking story of the past, well, since the 2016 era. And it should be covered by every mainstream media outlet across the United States of America. Sadly, and for reasons that I can't grasp my brain around, it is not. I managed to pull this story from the Los Angeles Times. Very small story. The link to it is in the description of this video below, where you can go and read it yourself. So what I'm about to share with you is devastating for Joe Biden, just as it was devastating when Joe Biden was vice president under Barack Obama. Folks, please share this video far and wide, because we need the mainstream media, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, to cover this story. And they need to do it immediately. First, let me give you some context to put this into perspective. Gun running, or gun walking, a tactic used and approved under the Obama, Biden administration and their Department of Justice under Eric Holder. It was implemented by the Arizona U.S. Attorney's Office and the Arizona Field Office of the United States Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, aka the ATF, which ran a series of sting operations in Tucson, Arizona, and Phoenix, where the ATF, under the guidance of the Department of Justice, Eric Holder, under the leadership of Obama and Biden, purposely allowed licensed firearm dealers to sell weapons to illegal straw buyers, hoping to track the guns to Mexican drug cartel leaders and then arrest them. If you're just hearing that for the first time, I understand that that sounds absolutely insane. And of course, when it happened, that's what the rest of us thought too. However, none of the targeted high-level cartel figures were ever arrested. These operations were done under the umbrella of Project Gunrunner, a project intended to stem the flow of firearms into Mexico by interacting straw purchasers and gun traffickers within the United States. In February of 2010, the gun-walking operation became known as Operation Fast and Furious. The stated goal of allowing these purchases was to continue to track the firearms as they were transferred to higher-level traffickers and key figures within the Mexican cartels, with the expectations that this would lead to their arrest and their dismantling of the cartels. While federal prosecutor Emerald Hurley allegedly told agents they had no choice but to let guns walk because agents lacked probable cause to arrest buyers, the tactic of allowing obvious straw purchasers to give guns to criminal organizations was questioned during the operation by the ATF field agents at the time. During Operation Fast and Furious, the largest gun-walking probe in the history of America, the ATF attempted to monitor the sale of 2,000 firearms, mostly AK-47s and AR-15s, of which only 710 of the 2,000 were actually recovered by the ATF. By the end of Operation Fast and Furious, none of the targeted Mexican cartel figures had been arrested, not even one. Guns trafficked by the ATF had been found at crime scenes on both sides of the Mexican and U.S. borders over the years, including the scene where United States Border Patrol agent by the name of Brian Terry was gunned down and killed by an illegal alien who had one of those guns. The gun walking operation became public In the aftermath of Agent Terry's murder, whistleblower ATF agents came forward to Congress in response. According to former Mexican Attorney General and chair of the Justice Committee in the Chamber of Deputies, related firearms have been found at numerous crime scenes in Mexico, where at least 150 Mexican civilians were mainly killed. Revelations of gun walking led to controversy in both countries, and diplomatic relations were damaged at the time. As a result of a dispute over the release of the Justice Department's documents related to the scandal, on June 28, 2012, and a vote largely among party lines in a Republican-controlled House, Barack Obama and Joe Biden administrations, with their Attorney General Eric Holder became the first sitting member of the Cabinet of the United States to be held in contempt of Congress for failure to tell Congress the truth about Operation Fast and Furious. At Holder's request, President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden invoked executive privilege for the first time in Barack Obama's presidency in order to withhold the documents from Congress on Fast and Furious. In 2016, a federal court ruled that the records in question were not covered by privilege and must be turned over to Congress. However, the matter was dropped in April of 2019 after control of the House shifted to Democrats. The Obama-Biden administration had officially covered up the Fast and Furious operation. Therefore, no one in their administration would be held responsible for this horrible decision to run guns to Mexican cartel. And that brings us to the Los Angeles Times report that no one is covering right now. Mexico wants an urgent investigation into how U.S. military-grade weapons are increasingly being found in the hands of Mexican drug cartels today. Mexico's army is finding belt-fed machine guns, M60s, M16s, AK-47s, M4s, rocket launchers, and grenades that are not sold to civilians in the United States. Only the U.S. military has access to these weapons that are used in combat, as well as fully automatic weapons. The Mexican Defense Department has warned the United States about weapons entering Mexico that are for the exclusive use of the U.S. military. Foreign Relations Secretary Alicia Barassi said it's very urgent that an investigation into this be carried out by the Biden administration. The Mexican Army said it had seized over 221 fully automatic machine guns, 56 grenade launchers, and a dozen rocket launchers from drug cartels over the past few years. The military-grade U.S. weaponry, which cartel members have bragged about and openly displayed on social media, poses a special challenge for the Mexican Army. While along with police and the National Guard already faces cartel operating homemade armored vehicles and bomb-dropping drones, in June, Defense Secretary Luis Casanero Sedova said rocket launchers have been found in possession of the cartel. The U.S. government had no immediate response to the Mexican government, although the U.S. ambassador to Mexico was expected to continue to speak about this to the mainstream media and any that will listen, as often as needed to get the message across that there is a problem. While the Mexican Army still has superior firepower, the drug cartel's weaponry often now outclasses other branches of the Mexican law enforcement agencies. It is very, very possible that the U.S. government, the Department of Justice, under Joe Biden's watch, is once again actively involved in something like Operation Fast and Furious, running guns to Mexican cartel. Why is the mainstream media not all over this right now? You need to reach out to them and demand they cover this. You can look up Fast and Furious and read all about it yourself. It is all over the internet. And how the Obama and Biden administration covered for the ATF and the Department of Justice when the House Republicans got wind of it and went after them. And then how Obama and Biden, with executive privilege, covered for them so that the truth would not get out there to the American people or the Mexican authorities. This is a travesty. It is happening again. Somehow, weapons used by our U.S. military is ended up in the hands of the Mexican cartel. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America. Join me Tuesdays and Thursdays right here at 8 p.m. Central for the live Douglas Ducote Show. Until then, thank you, God bless you, and please share this video on all your social media platforms.